This video will show you how to replace the wheel bearing hub assembly on a Mazda 3. This will be located behind your rear wheel. Let's get into it. To remove the rear wheel, we're going to remove all 5 of our 21mm lug nuts and we can get the wheel off of here. Now that we have the wheel off, we're going to gain access to the wheel bearing by removing the brakes. To remove the brakes, we have to remove the caliper and bracket first. Along the back side of the caliper, you're going to find that you have an electronic parking brake motor. We have to dislodge the electrical wiring harness up along the top. As far as this electrical connector is concerned, it has a locking tab right where my thumb is. You can go ahead and squeeze that in and pull this out of place. Now, once you have it disconnected, a quick inspection for corrosion along each side. This is extremely important. If you see any, you need to go ahead and take care of it. We'll set that wiring aside temporarily, and we're going to continue on removing the caliper next. For that, we're along the back side. Now, in this area, we can see one of our 14mm headed mounting bolts holding this in place. We're going to fully remove the upper bolt, a quick inspection, and then just start it in a couple threads. We'll remove the next mounting bolt next. That looks good. That's going to hold the caliper in place while we continue on to the next bolt. We can see our next mounting bolt right here. This one we can fully remove. Quick inspection and we'll set it aside as well. There's that one. Now we can remove that final bolt and we'll pull the caliper right out and away from that rotor. We'll give the pads a quick inspection and set it aside, putting no pressure on our flex hose. Move this around, we're holding onto the caliper. Get the bolt out of there. As we slide the caliper away from the rotor, ensure the rotor does not fall off and potentially hurt you. We can see our brake pads. Those look good. We'll set this aside, like I said, putting no pressure on that flex hose. You can hang it pretty much anywhere. You can remove that brake rotor. A quick inspection. If it looks like it needs to be replaced, now's the time to do so. With that out of the way, we can see our rear wheel bearing hub assembly. Let's use some penetrant on the mounting bolt threads. Along the base. Continuing on, we're going to make our way along the back side for each of those mounting bolts. Now, back along this area, we can see that we have our 4 mounting bolts, but we're not removing those yet. Look right along here. We can see our ABS wheel speed sensor wiring harness. There's a 12mm bolt holding this in place. Go ahead and remove that bolt and the sensor wiring harness from the back side of the bearing. We'll take hold of that sensor. We should be able to give a wiggle here. Double check to make sure it's not cracked or damaged in any way. This one looks fine. I'm going to set it aside. Let's continue on with the mounting hardware next. For each of these bolts, I'm using a 14mm. We'll fully remove the first one. Just a quick inspection, start it back in a couple threads as we continue on with all others. Okay. There's that mounting bolt. Looks okay. Start it back in a couple threads. Let's continue on. Same process, all others. Just go ahead and remove them. Okay. There's that one. Now we're still going to leave that one mounting bolt in place. As you can tell, it is loose. Continuing on, we're going to break the wheel bearing hub assembly free from the knuckle. We want to ensure we do not cause any damage to our backing plate. Now continuing on, we're installing a bearing removal tool. Now these bearing removal tools can come in all different shapes and sizes. This is the one that I'm using. I'm holding onto the bearing hub and I have a driver pressed up against the knuckle here where our caliper should mount. We don't want to cause any damage. If it feels like we're applying excessive pressure, just go ahead and back it off and then you can continue on a different way. We're waiting to see the bearing to start to separate. Now, as you can tell, we do have movement in this area. Now I don't want to continue on too far. I still have that mounting bolt in the back. So at this point, we can continue on with some penetrant. We'll remove our tool and we can continue with a hammer as necessary. We should be able to tap this out of place. That bolt out of there. Now, as you can tell, this is still stuck in place, so I have my hammer. I'm going to start tapping on this, but keep in mind that the backing plate is sandwiched in between the bearing and the knuckle. So once the bearing starts coming out, the backing plate will too. Continuing on, we're going to separate the bearing from the backing plate. To separate this, I'm just using a small pry bar. You can use a flat blade screwdriver if necessary. You can also do it by hand. You can see it starting to separate here. A quick inspection of the backing plate. We are reusing that. There it is, friend. Prior to installation of any brand new part, make sure you clean and inspect all mating surfaces. I'm going to use a wire brush and some parts cleaner. We're going inside of this circular port and along the outside here. And while we're in this area, let's just go ahead and clean the areas where the caliper sits as well. A little bit of parts cleaner. Let that dry. We'll use some anti-seize around the circular port. That'll help prevent the wheel bearing from getting stuck in place again. A little bit along this outer portion as well. We have our backing plate. Go ahead and clean that up along both sides as well. We have our 4 wheel bearing bolts cleaned, and I've applied some blue thread locker. We have our cleaned backing plate and our brand new rear wheel bearing. Let's go ahead and take that wheel bearing. We're looking along the back side. Pay attention to where the ABS wheel speed sensor goes in. We want that port up along the top. Let's slide that through the backing plate next, aligning our mounting bolts ports. Now we can take this entire unit, press it up against that knuckle, and we'll start in all 4 mounting bolts from along the back side. We can maneuver things around as necessary. We're only starting in the mounting bolts. We are not tightening these yet. Once they're all started in, we'll snug them up and then torque them to the manufacturer's specification. Once you have all the mounting bolts started in, go ahead and snug them up, and then I'm going to torque these to 65 foot-pounds. Now I've got my torque wrench. Once you have all of those torqued as they should be, continue on with your ABS wheel speed sensor wiring harness next. Prior to installing the sensor, I'm going to give it a quick wipe with a clean rag. I'm not using any type of detergent. A quick inspection to make sure it's not damaged, just as before. This looks good. Let's go ahead and lubricate the sealing O-ring here. For this, you can use some dielectric lubricant or just a little bit of penetrant. You don't need very much. Just work that around with a gloved finger. We don't need to get any on the sensing agent, the very tip there. If you do, you can just go ahead and wipe it off with a clean rag. Let's slide this into place, aligning the mounting bolt port. Once you feel as though you have it bottomed out, go ahead and start in the mounting bolt and then snug it up. Okay, so I have that bottomed out. I'm just going to take it a tiny bit further here. We don't want to break it off, but we just want to make sure the sensor itself is properly secured and no moisture or debris could make its way into that wheel bearing. Now let's focus along the outside of the wheel bearing. We'll apply some copper anti-seize. Next, we'll install our brake rotor. Before installing it, you want to look along the backside. Make sure you clean the hub mating surface right along this area here. You don't want to have any raised surfaces that could cause an issue with a brake pulsation. We'll slide this into place, and now I'm going to use a spacer and one of my lug nuts to hold this on while I continue on with the installation of the caliper next. Start bringing this caliper into place. We're sliding the brake pads over the brake rotor and aligning the bracket so we can install our 2 mounting bolts. I've cleaned the bolts and applied blue thread locker. As we start installing these, you want to start in the first one, but leave it loose, continue on to the second. Snug them both up once they're both started, and then we'll torque them to 48 foot-pounds. Now we'll torque these to 48 foot-pounds. Let's make sure we torque the upper mounting bolt as well. Up along the top of the caliper, we have the electrical connector for our rear brake parking motor. Press it in, listen for a click. Let's remove our spacer and our lug nut from this area as well. Now one last quick inspection in this area and we can reinstall our wheel. Let's get this on here. We'll start on all 5 of our 21mm lug nuts. Bottom them out, get the wheel safely on the ground, and we can torque each of these to 100 foot-pounds. Now we have the wheel safely back down on the ground. We're going to continue on torquing these lug nuts in a crisscross manner to that 100 foot-pounds. Torqued. Okay friend, we finished the installation of our rear wheel bearing. The next thing you want to do is hop in the passenger compartment, pump up that brake pedal, make sure it's nice and firm. Take your vehicle for a road test, make sure you have no ABS light, and get yourself a 4-wheel alignment. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.